Hey guys, I am here with my March 2021 roundup for all of the books that I read that were either biblical fiction or historical Christian fiction for the month of March, since it is now April 1st. Guys, I read 38 books this month. I think it has to be a record. So I unfortunately am not going to be able to go real slow through this video on each of them because the software that I use to do this only lets me have 15 minutes total, and that's not even like a minute a book. That's not even 30 seconds a book. So I've got to go ahead and get this going. So I'll try to be as thorough as I can, but I'm going to have to be quick to go through this. So the first one is Yours Truly, Thomas by Rachel Fordham. This was a really sweet book, you guys. I really enjoyed it. It was a really sweet romance. When I read it for a book club on Facebook. The next one is King's Mercy by Lori Benton. This one I really couldn't get into. It was more or less a little too confusing for me. I had a little bit of a hard time with the plot, so it wasn't really anything that I would brag about. The next one is Jerusalem's Daughter by Jetta Van Morik. Now, she is a brand new author. This is her debut biblical fiction novel. I really loved it, you guys. It was an excellent book. If you love biblical fiction, you've got to check it out. It was amazing, especially for a debut author. Okay, the next two. Wonderland Creek by Lynn Austin and Under the Tulip Tree by Michelle Shockley. Now, these books really don't have anything in common except they both feature a totally different 101-year-old woman, but they do both, oddly enough, feature a 101-year-old African-American woman, and she tells her story of her life a little bit, and both of them, I loved these books so much. They were just amazing to me, and I wish there was more like them, so you have to check those out. The Ring of Secrets by Rosanna M. White. Now, that's a revolutionary tale, and basically it's all about the Culper spy ring, which was really neat. For Love or Country by Jennifer Hudson Taylor. That was such a sweet romance between a patriot woman and a British officer. It was a really sweet romance, you guys, so you gotta check that one out. The Stolen Kingdom by Bethany, I think her last name is Azra. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. This is a very loose retelling of Aladdin. Honestly, if I didn't know it was supposed to be about Aladdin, other than the fact that there's a genie in it, I would have never really known. So it was pretty loose. But if you like fairy tales that are clean, this is a good one. The Hope by Jennifer Jennings. This is another one from her Rebecca series. So this is, I believe it's the second one. I can't remember if it's the second one or if it's the very last one. It might actually be the last one, you guys, in this series, but it was really good. It was a good series. It was a little prolonged a little bit, but it was pretty good. The Captured Bride by Michelle Greep. That was a pretty good book too. It follows the Daughters of the Mayflower series. And it was pretty good. I am not really liking the entire series. Some books are better than others, but that's just because they're from different authors. And here's another one. The next one in the series is The Patriot Bride by Kimberly Woodhouse. That one was pretty good too. Honestly, I really liked the very first book in the Daughters of the Mayflower series, and I'm not really as in love with the rest of them personally. Between Two Shores by Jocelyn Green. That was a really sweet book. It was kind of sad, her relationship with her father. But if you like French revolutionary tales, then you'll love Jocelyn Green. Okay, so the next picture is like a multitude of fairy tale retellings. So I'm going to start at the very back. The Genie Key is by Bethany Azra, and that was a pretty good book. Again, that was a very loose retelling of The Little Mermaid, and I truly mean very loose retelling. Identity by Camille Peters. That was excellent. That put me in a very lighthearted mood for the rest of the day. It was a great book. I really enjoyed her writing. Tale of Beauty and Beast by Melanie Sellier. That was probably the best Beauty and the Beast retelling I have ever read. I'm not gonna lie, I loved it. So I immediately went and got, I think it's called The Princess Search, I can't remember if that's what the title is, by Melanie Sellier. And that one I didn't enjoy as much at all. So I guess I might be biased because I really love Beauty and the Beast, but that one was okay. The Captive Maiden by Melanie Dickerson, that was a Cinderella retelling. Oh yeah, and by the way, these are all clean retellings, you guys, or Christian. The Captive Maiden by Melanie Dickerson, you can never really go wrong with a Melanie Dickerson book, and I love that story. It was a really sweet one. And then Beauty and the Baron by Joanna Barker. That was also a retelling, a very, very loose retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I would have never been able to really tell that that was Beauty and the Beast retelling, but it was a very sweet little novella. Okay, so Abigail by Jill Eileen Smith. This has been sitting on my bookshelf for over a year, and I have finally gotten to it. I love Abigail. In the Bible, she really had an amazing amount of courage, but I feel really bad for her in the book because you can tell that she just wants to feel that pure out love from David, but since he has so many other wives, you know, it's kind of hard to just focus on that. And eventually, if you see your husband showing affection towards anyone else, even if he's technically married to those other people, it's still going to break your heart. So that story sort of broke my heart. A Noble Masquerade by Christy Ann Hunter. This was a really original storyline. It was really cute. I like her Regency sort of romantic comedies, so that was a really cute one. The next two in the next picture are Titanic retellings that are Christian. Promise Me This by Kathy Golecki. That one was kind of sad in the sense there is a main character that dies in that book. It's a good book, but it's kind of sad. By the Light of the Silvery Moon by Tricia Goyer, I actually enjoyed a lot more because it wasn't so sad. It had a better ending to it. And as far as I remember, I don't believe anyone of sheer importance died. One character did die, but he wasn't... he kind of could be on the fence in that sense. So I actually like that one better. Okay, The Colonel's Lady by Laura Franz. Usually I really like Laura Franz's books that are, because they're all revolutionary, but this one was okay. Honestly, I couldn't really get completely into it. So unfortunately, I kind of sped through this one a little bit. The next one was The Cursed Hunter, and that was, again, by Bethany Edzadra. I can't pronounce her last name, I'm sorry, you guys. But that, again, was an extremely loose retelling of Beauty and the Beast this time. And, of course, I do like Beauty and the Beast, but I'm not going to lie, I didn't even finish this one just because it really didn't have a whole lot of Beauty and the Beast in it to me, and I just couldn't make it through. The Egyptian Princess, The Story of Hagar by K.D. Kolmberg. This is a brand new release for biblical fiction. It's basically the story of Hagar, but it's only in Egypt from when Sarah was taken by Pharaoh and she was being held there. And then all the way until the story ends right when Hagar is being given to Sarah by Pharaoh and they are leaving out. So at first, originally, I was really disappointed because I thought, well, that just left off on a huge cliffhanger, but there is a sequel coming from the author, and she has said that. So I'm excited to see where the story goes, but also, the character of Sarah, she was very sweet and very kind and very loving, and I'm kind of wondering how that's going to pan out, since in the sequel, somewhere down the line, even in the Bible, kind of be cruel to Hagar in that sense. So I'm trying to see where that's going to pan out eventually, because I can't see her doing that like she did in the story. She was too sweet in the story. Okay, the next two by Lynn Austin, both of them, Song of Redemption and Among the Gods. These are the Chronicles of the Kings. I think it was like book number 2 and 5. Unfortunately, I totally read them out of order because that's the only two that I had on my shelf at the time. But they were amazing. They were about King Hezekiah, and they were wonderful. I have had those on my shelf for a year now, and I'm finally getting to them, and I'm so glad that I did. Wyoming by Colleen Cobble. This was basically just a novella series. It had 4 different novellas in it. I'm not really a complete fan of Colleen Cobble. Some of her books are okay, and then some of them would be, at least to me, a little bit too risque for Christian fiction. This one was okay. There wasn't anything bad in it. Just Janet by Nancy Moser. So this is a retelling, Just Jane. I'm so sorry. Just Jane by Nancy Moser. This is basically a retelling of Jane Austen from her own eyes. It's kind of hard because it's written in first person, so it's saying, you know, like, I did this and I did that, instead of she or he. So that's kind of hard to get used to, but it's a pretty good story, and I actually did learn a lot about Jane Austen just by reading this because she did an amazing amount of research. Okay, so the next 5 are actually all from the Ordinary Women of the Bible series by Guidepost. Now you can only get these through guidepost.com. You have to sign up for the series. You get 1 each month. So I blew through 5 because they've been sitting on my bookshelf for 5 months, and I have not been able to get to them. So I read all of them: Rich Beyond Measure, The Life Giver, No Stone Cast, The Source of Her Strength, and Missionary of Hope. I really like The Life Giver by Connellan Cassette. That was a really good one. No Stone Cast was honestly okay. Her Source of Strength, it was by Jill Eileen Smith, but I couldn't give it more than 4 stars. I just didn't really hang on to this book like I did Connellan Cassette's book. The Missionary of Hope, again, that was okay. I couldn't really identify with the characters too much. And then Rich Beyond Measure was actually a good one. I actually really did enjoy that one, so that was a good book. Far Side of the Sea by Kate Breslin. This was an amazing book. Now, I never ever read wartime books, but this is a World War I book, and it is about spies in World War I, and it was breathtaking. I loved it. Okay, Regina Scott, A Distance Too Grand. This one is really cute. I like this series. This is the first one I've read out of this series, and they all take place in national parks, so this one obviously is in the Grand Canyon. It's a cute little romance. I really enjoyed the main character. She was funny, and she had such a passion for photography, so I really, really liked that book, and I can't wait to see the rest that come out for that one. Okay, and then the other ones, now I know you see The Cumberland Bride, but I literally just finished that today, which is April 1st, so I'm not counting that until my April review that'll come out next month. So, Too Rich for a Bride by Mona Hogston. This one was okay. I kind of sped through it. It was a new author for me. It really didn't pull me in. It wasn't anything completely grand. And then the last one was A Sensible Arrangement by Tracy Peterson. This, again, I gave it about 4 stars. It was a good story, and it was the first one I have ever read by Tracy Peterson. I do have another one. I have a few more on my shelf, but this one was pretty good. So I gave it 4 stars. So I hope you guys enjoyed my extremely quick video on all 38 books that I read for March. I still can't believe I made it through 38 books. So if you read avid Christian fiction like me, leave a comment in the box below to tell me just how many you read compared to the 38 that I read in March. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video.